Okay, we got Kathleen Metcalf, who is the amazing assistant trainer for 30/60/90, has an incredible training program to help us really bring on staff members and make their first 90 days and yours an amazing experience. So this is my second round with Kathleen. And today, Kathleen, was so interesting because I've had a very strong conversation with one of my coaching clients, two top producing agents who like really need help finding a great assistant and then what to do in the first 30/60/90. Okay. I recently just today also was on with a great coaching client, and she's in her first 30 days with her new assistant. So in today's session, let's address a little bit about kind of that group that needs to probably come to your group and say, help me. And then let's also help the people that have the staff and how to set up the 30/60/90. So Kathleen, could you share a little bit more insight about the group that you guys are involved in and kind of how those services break down? So, my friends, can have an understanding of how to approach you guys and what to do and how it all works.
I would love to. And thanks for having me on again. It's great to always spend time with you and to educate our shared audience. So hiring a real estate admin, and we use the term admin generically because that can be all different kinds of titles, right? But most of the time admin are a business partner in operations, not necessarily an assistant to an individual agent, which is also one of the roles. So Vanessa Rosenblum is the founder of Pro REA Staffing and founder of Hire Lab, of which I am a co-founder. So we also developed a training program together. Did you want to ask something else in there?
No. So what can we count on for her? Like, I need help finding the right person. I probably need a little bit of consultation on what the job description is going to be and what that looks like, and going and finding them, because personally, I am I'm incapable of finding and hiring someone awesome, because I'm going to just lean on my preferences. And if I like them, then that's probably the wrong person to hire. So who do we go to for, I need help writing the job description and getting the ad out, and help me hire this person, maybe with some, contracts and some blah, blah, blah. Where do we go there?
So if you go to the hirelab.com site, you will most likely then have a free consultation with Erin Elizabeth, who is the lead recruiter. And she will be able to go through with an agent or the hiring manager, whoever that might be on the team, of and have a consultation, the value proposition of the team. What are the responsibilities? What is the experience? What are the characteristics that you want from this person? I think they write fantastic job ads. They are attractive, in meaning that they really highlight who the employer is to be able to attract talent, because people do not just apply for jobs. They are applying to work with a value-based company or person that they can relate to, that they want to belong with, they want to be a part of, they want to be a part of something bigger than them. So that's a big toll for a job ad. And I think they're exquisite at writing them.
That's really cool. So let me clarify something first. The thing that I heard that all my clients will probably freak out about. Most of them don't know what their value proposition, most of them don't know what they actually want or what they need. And so I'm just going to assume that since this, what's her name?
Erin Elizabeth.
Erin Elizabeth, she probably is going to ask the question, but will help the agent define those things and probably pull it out of them. Yep. Beautiful. Okay. Because I know I want them to do that call, because then they can clarify it and not wait until they ask me what it is to write it for them. Go call, make the call. And she will help you with that. Cool. That's great. And I agree with you. I think we all, just to make a statement on that last point, because no one really has ever said that, but intuitively, that's how I feel. I want a partner, someone who's committed, and I want to help and nurture and love on them. And a lot of times, I think a lot of the agents have this, they kind of come with this, I need a task bitch to just get shit done for me. And that's not a healthy relationship. That's just a task bitch. That's just a minion, go ahead and just go on to TaskRabbit and get things done. Right. So that, so I agree with you. It's about finding a great partnership, someone who can fill in the gaps, help you build and grow your business. Cool. Yes. I like that. Good. Is there any other resources? So hirelab.com, sign up for the consultation.
And you have three choices when you go to Hire Lab. There is a training course for $249 that Vanessa and I did. It's less than 3 hours to go through it. Cool. It gives you all of the tools, samples, so you can do a job search yourself. If that is something where you just need to know an outline and fill things out and know where to go, $249, you can learn how to do that. Cool. And it teaches you how to interview. The second tier is that you can have things a la carte, which they call candidate screening services. And you can have a consultation and a job ad for $450. You can have them review resumes for $85 an hour. You can have them do a phone interview. You can have them do a video interview. You can do it piecemeal and pick and choose what you would like to do. So they have a menu.
That's cool.
Or they have the platinum package, which is a retained search where they do everything for you and you interview the finalists.
That's great.
They do the offer letter, they do everything.
Perfect.
And based on the search, they'll give you a price and a payment plan for what that looks like. It's usually 3 payments to start the search when the person is placed, and then either 30 or 90 days later for the final payment. 30 days if you don't work with me, 90 days if you do work with me, because our success rate is so high of having teams work well together. Average turnover is 20% in the first year, and for us, it's 3% when they work with us.
That's great. That's really good. Great. Yeah, and that makes sense. So, okay, that's very cool. And then what would you say is kind of the rough, like, platinum is something that I'm probably like my clients today that I was talking to, like, I was like, you just need someone to help you. Like they would be a full-blown platinum. So kind of a general estimate of what that, obviously every marketplace varies, cost basis, competition, blah, blah, blah. What's kind of like a general number to set expectations?
3,000 3 times. So it's 9,000.
Okay. So $9,000 for all in, help me do it all. That's
is an average price point.
That's very
good.
Good.
What we like to compare this to is, unless you're good at interviewing and hiring and you want to take that time, last time I tracked how long it took to do a search, it was 120 hours. Right. So most real estate agents make an average potentially of $500 an hour to go get a deal. So that's $60,000 to do the search. Pay someone $9 or $12.
No. Yeah.
Right. So don't be a for sale by owner. Let an expert do their job. So it's the same argument to work with a recruiter that an agent has with a for sale by owner.
Yeah. I think for so many of us today, it's like, we just need really someone great as quickly as possible because we're too busy and our growth and our stress levels are being stunted and exaggerated because we don't have them. And so it's not a capital issue. It's a time issue and it's a competence. I don't have the competence to do that. So anyways, thank you for clarifying all of that. Yep. And then now this is where you come into play, which is helping you and the assistant, helping the agent and the assistant to come together, work together. Right. And so let's talk a little bit about that. And, we did on the last video, guys, which I did with Kathleen, we talked all about the 30, 60, 90. So my goal with today was I wanted to talk a little bit about also the systems building and how that works and what that process is. And I know that you guys also have a little value add that you offer.
Yeah, we make operations playbooks. So we will document your systems and create your operations playbook with you and for you.
This is where I wanted to go, because this is where I'm very curious by right now is how do we build our operations playbook? I like the way you said that, right? I was just talking to a great agent this last week, and this is where she's struggling, right? I was having a lot of conversations with multiple of my clients, and this is the analogy, and I'm going to shut up. But one of the analogies that I've said to a lot of my clients is the difference between the Hampton Garden Inn and the Ritz-Carlton on the same street, right? So the outcome of the service is the same, a night stay. One charges 5 times the same rate. True. Same street, same city, same outcome. Right. And then, of course, I ask everybody the same question and they all say things like customer service and blah, 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 blah. And the core principle that I have come to is the difference is the Ritz-Carlton obsesses over every step of the customer's journey and figures out at every second how to make it a better experience for everybody involved. Yes. The employee, the customer, the staff, the whole thing. Right? The environment. So there's an obsession over that business decision of how this is going to go all the way through. And that's why you could charge a 5X experience. Right? So we all know when we go in and check into a Hampton Inn, in our mind, we're going, how is this going to go? Is the bed going to be, is it going to be hard? Is there going to be soap? Is the towels going to be crusty? There's this unknown uncertainty, which brings anxiety and fear. When you go to the Ritz-Carlton, it's more like, how good is it going to be? And how delightful is this going to be? Yes. Relaxed, calm. Once you walk into the, Ritz-Carlton, you can kind of leave your worries behind, besides how much money you're about to spend. Right. So let's talk about systems, operations from this context. Right. One of the funny things today, because this is where my great client in Portland, we're talking about this, and she's like, well, but my assistant, he wrote out these steps, but it's just not good enough. And she's like, and I said, right, because you have a unique way that you do this, and you have to, with them, go look at each step, and you two need to make some decisions about how this is going to go. And then you shed your expertise, wisdom, knowledge on them at that step. And now they understand what to do from there. So, a couple of things. So I just want to say that to you because I was just curious how to help all of this come together for these people, because we really need to make some progress on their operations, right? And make it a better experience, not only for themselves, everybody involved, but also the customer, right? So how do we implement an operations manual with you guys in this process, or bring an assistant into the fold? How do we do it?
We have an outline of the bones, the frame of what needs to go inside an operations playbook by category. Okay. We are also have been developing samples of what can go inside there over the years, right? So cool. We do have some of that. So we do a free consultation and meet with the agent, the business owner, and who else might be involved to be able to talk about what do you have, what might need to be created, and then what would that project management timeline and content look like. Nice. Then we can do a proposal for, okay, here's what we think it will take. So we really become then your project manager. We can also be your content developer, depending on what that is. And so then we have a director of systems documentation, we have systems consultants, we have specialists, so we have our tiers, and then we have a workflow process. So exactly what you're saying around the agent has a secret sauce that is a layer in addition to the bones of the checklist. Right. So we have a number of ways, similarly to the search process, of being able to pull from the agent, what is that? Right. So we can even be your video production project manager and have the agent direct to camera record speaking to people on their team, so that as new people come, they get the same consistent message. We can document what they said, be able to put that into writing and add that into a living document. So it used to be that operations manuals were a binder. Right. Things move too quickly now. Things change too quickly now. So this needs to be a dynamic living document. It can be in a learning management platform like Trainual. Right. It can be Google Drive. It can be Dropbox. We have now a brokerage firm working with us, putting it into Microsoft Office Teams. Right. Perfect. So there are different ways of organizing it. But what you really need is someone to comb through with you. Then we give you homework for the week. We say, when we'll have that back. Then you put it in your calendar. You're going to work on something for 45 minutes. And then usually in about 3 months, we can have an average playbook created. Nice. Some agents love it so much, they have us keep going. Right. And they're like, well, if you could do that, then could we do this? And then could we do that? And so then we work with them for 10 months, but that's all, decided along as we go. Yeah. But it really is a dynamic process. I like that. So where does someone start typically with you guys? You know what I mean? Like there's, I was kind of telling one of my clients today, hey, there's only 2 ways we make money. There's only 2 processes. We help a buyer buy a house and we help a seller sell a house. So, yes. But there's, multiple phases of each one of those processes, right? Yeah. And so where do typically you guys start with an agent to kind of help them, get something built? So we can start with a pain point, or we can start where they have something well documented. Mm-hmm. It's really sort of a choice there. If there's a pain point where they want something documented, then we can work with the admin on how can we help you document this? Do you need to record your screen as you're doing your work and then give us that recording, and we'll turn that into a workflow process that you can then approve? Like, what can we do to help you? Because it really is where the admin have this on their list, but it has to go on the back burner because the deals come first. Right. So there are admin who feel badly that they have not gotten to this for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. Well, we finally said, we can help you. We can create this with you and for you, right, because it's very hard for them to take the time. And for some, they do not actually have the organizational thinking to create an encyclopedia. Yeah. And that's okay, because most of them are going to need to follow it, not create it. Yeah. We can create it. And so from that perspective, it really doesn't matter where we start, but the 2 really ends of the pendulum swing are where you already have things well documented and now we need to take it up a notch, or where you have a pain point and we can help create that. Nice. That's cool. I think that's pretty rad. So I want to say one more thing about that. So in my experience as a coach with agents and admin, we're going into my 9th year and my 20th year in the industry, is there are 4 layers of performance management. The first layer of which is systems. It is very difficult to have people performing highly on your team if you don't have systems, right, because then they're making it up. They're all doing it from memory. The second layer is training to use the system the way you want it done. Right. The third layer is what are their work habits. And the fourth layer is attitude. Even though you might think they have to have a great attitude to begin with, if you have systems and you've done training and they have good work habits and you still don't have performance, that's where we need to look at someone's attitude. Yeah. So I look at those layers like that. And for many agents and teams, and including teams you and I, I'm sure both know, who have done multi-million dollars in GCI and sales for 15, 20 years, and they still don't really have well-documented systems. But if you want to be the Ritz-Carlton and you want people to focus on service, the way the Ritz-Carlton does that, right, their book is behind me, is that they have a system and a workflow process. Because my director of systems documentation, Laura Sims, taught me growth and scalability is not customization, it's systematize.
Yes.
So you can't keep customizing the way you do things for every client. What you do is create great standards, systematize that, and then you can put icing and sprinkles and decorations on it and have service above and beyond that. But you're going to get a great bed with great towels, and you're going to get a great night's sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And you have the freedom and flexibility to do that. The classic story, of Ritz-Carlton is, the server that's serving the person dinner, and the person says, I'm going back to watch the movie and I'm in a hurry. And then they send up popcorn and extras. So it's having the time and ability to add the customization on top of already a high performing system, right?
Yes. I have a Ritz-Carlton story. Can I tell it?
Sure.
I was at the Ritz-Carlton in Rancho Mirage, right outside Palm Springs, many years ago. And at in the dining room, they had blue glass votive candles that I thought were so pretty in my bathroom, right, covered in marble with a great big soaking tub. I called down and said, would it be possible for me to have one of those blue glass votive candles for my bathroom? Mm-hmm. It felt like I hung up the phone and someone knocked on the door.
Wow. Yeah.
And arrived with a silver tray filled with blue glass votive candles lit for me to have in my bathroom.
Yeah.
Never forgot that.
Yeah, that's right.
It was impressive. And that they knew my name, like, at the front door, at the elevator, at the desk, in the restaurant. I'm not wearing a name tag. How do they know my name?
Yeah.
They knew my name. It was very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about leadership for a second?
Yes.
Culture, leadership. I was having a long conversation with a great entrepreneur, and I said, he's like, you just got rid of an assistant. And I said, I have a feeling you're kind of an asshole to work for. And I respect this guy a lot. So he started laughing because he is like, yeah, you're right.
Oh.
And so I said, so what, what's the culture, and I started kind of talking about culture. Then as I was talking to him, I started defining culture in my mind, and I just started making shit up that just sounded good. I was like, culture is, not only standards that values and principles and ways of operating and kind of what you'd expect. And so I started kind of, rattling off a few things, and it was more of a brain dump than it was an actual definition. Leadership, culture. What are some of the things that for some of my agents who are really taking on staff for the first time?
Yes.
So what are some of the simple do's and don'ts to make sure that they create and foster a great environment and they have good high expectations of performance?
So the agent needs to know what they stand for and then be true to that. And they need to treat their team members, staff members, employees, as well as they treat their clients. There is no more two-faced way of being. You can't expect Ritz-Carlton service to carry that example through and then treat people, like they work in the Blue Plate Diner. Like, you have to have integrity where things are congruent. So if you say that you're all about great service and efficiency, and you're a hot mess who doesn't keep their word and doesn't keep their appointments, you're a liar. And your staff can smell it. And so now you say one thing, but you do another thing. So that's hard to work for because they're living up to what you said. And then even more, once they get on the inside, they're living up to who you're being, what you're doing.
Right.
So, in that process is then what do you stand for? And then preferably you also have that written down. And it's something that you talk about at your team meetings, when you're strategizing about how to do things. And one of the things we look at in our operations playbook is where is the compassion in your process? Because sometimes the burnout happens because the process is unsustainable.
Interesting.
And in the 4 quadrants of time management and urgency, when agents are on their own and they're hustling, they work a lot in quadrant 1, which is important and urgent. For operations and admin people, that is high burnout territory. That should be left for the things we really cannot control. Quadrant 2 is it is important, but we have planned for it. It is in the calendar. We do this on Tuesdays. We check these things on Thursdays. We show up to our team meetings. We run the meeting. It has an agenda, and then the things we can't control, Mr. Smith's hot water heater broke and there's an open house on Sunday and it's Thursday. Okay. We pop into action.
Yeah.
We have a showing. We have, an offer when it's not even live yet those kind of things. That's quadrant 1. But you can't live there as a team.
Right.
The other thing we see is that agents who have grown their business hard and fast, and they've been hustling, and I use the analogy, you've been on a catamaran, and now you have a yacht. And for some of them, you now actually have a cruise liner. It doesn't turn like that anymore.
Right.
When you decide, I want to use follow-up boss. No, I want to use Basecamp. No, I want to make this. I want 400 holiday cards next Thursday. No, we're not in a catamaran anymore. We're making everybody crazy. What is the result that you want? Let operations people also participate in collaborating with you about how to execute the plan to get to that result. Because ultimately, in some instances, the agent is really good at this strategy and operations and systems development. It is a small percentage. The high D, high I agent who is really great at being a rainmaker, we want them to partner with these operations people to say, this is what I want. This is the result I'm after. How can we get there?
Yeah, I like that.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah. There was one thing in there in the beginning too, just playing off the insecurity of some of my, coaching clients who are going to hire someone is, it's okay if I'm not that organized and, visionary, but with my staff members, I've noticed when I'm humble and I'm vulnerable about my weaknesses, hey, I'm really terrible at this. And one of the reasons why I would love to have you on board is because I really have a strong desire to be better and to be more organized and to improve this process. And, I'm not good at it. So let's work together to make this a significantly better experience, not just, and one of the other key things I've noticed is this can't be for me. I hired you to make me better. Yeah, it's got to be for them and the business right? So it's like, if you make the client the hero, not the agent, me, the hero, then I find you get a better response.
Yes.
Right. It's like, hey, I want to be more organized. I want to have better systems. I want to create a better experience for the customer. Will you help me?
And for us, I want us to have systems as a team.
Our experience to be better.
Yes.
And I know I'm the train wreck, but I'm committed. And that's why I'm excited to have you on board. Let's make this a great experience for all.
Yes. And the admin can help you with your calendar, can remind you, but then the agent still has to show up. They still have to keep their word. They still have to do what they need to do to participate. It's any relationship. You still have to participate. They're not going to be able to make you change, but they are going to be able to support you and structure you. And if you want them to confront you with the things that you're not doing, then you must hire someone who knows how to do that and is comfortable doing that and wants to do that and understands the value of that. Because to an admin who's a SC on the disc, that is confrontation. That is conflict.
Yeah, I find that, I get that too, even with agents who hire me as a coach or hire you. And like, I just really need you to hold me accountable to doing stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm here to help you grow your business.
Yes.
I'm not here to remind you to do the things that you already committed to.
Right.
I would deploy agents. Don't do that with an assistant. It's like
making them willing to change.
It's like asking them to become your mother and clean up your room after you. I'm going to pay you to clean up my room after me. No, that's just not, it's inappropriate. Right.
Because if you can show up for a listing presentation, you can show up for a team meeting. You're just choosing not to.
Yes, exactly. Technology, communication. So I've had, one of my, groups, I was like, maybe you should just really apply like Slack or something like that. I'm not Slack proficient. There's RealVolve. I think I've, met with them. I thought they were a really brilliant organization. I haven't been overly impressed with that many people. I've heard good things about Transactly, but is there some, tools, technology services out there that you guys are kind of gave a little bit of a stamp of approval? There's no such thing as perfection, but there is, hey, there's people that are using this successfully. And if you create a good relationship with them, there's a good probability that you're going to have success. Anything that you guys are experiencing out there that's helpful?
Yes. And I think that feeds also to, Patrick, the levels of support that people can get as their business grows. So you can hire vendors and services. You can hire virtual assistants. You can hire part-time. You can hire full-time. You can hire remote or in-house. There's different levels and layers of that. And so for someone who needs a project done, we love to work with Andy Dunn, admin a la carte, who's in Washington State. She'll do a project. She'll do something for you periodically. You can literally have admin services done a la carte. That's a great name for her business.
I've seen that around. I've seen that around a little bit. So that, she does a great job. And so she's, helping all kinds of clients of mine. And Curtis Smith has the Virtual Chameleon, which is also a United States based virtual assistant company that has certain services. He's also in Washington State. I love to work with asklevel.com, which is a United States based, but Philippine
based virtual assistant company. Our Joyce Yolande, who's been with us now just over a year. It's wonderful. We love working with her. And so for full-time help, it's an incredible, wise cost measurement investment to be able to have full-time support. And so, then in terms of other kinds of software and communication, it's really important that you have transparency and accountability that is not all paper or office based. COVID taught us, right? You never know when you have to go home and then you can't see the whiteboard. So what do you have for shared calendars? What can you see from your phone? What can you see from the CRM or the database? How can you then be able to know what is the status of a task, if it was done or not? Where did someone keep notes? This technology exists. There's lots of it out there. There's plenty of shiny things. So it's also important that you know what is it that you want it to do, and then be able to search what would be the right tool. Let
me ask you an important question. Thank you. You helped me with a great assistant that you helped us train from 30, 60, 90, Mr. Tim Kutch. And he built an amazing spreadsheet that was start to finish, that was scalable by client, and then by step-by-step task across the window. And we all could see on the Google Drive at any given moment exactly where we were at. So it was the whiteboard recreated on a spreadsheet. Right. So that dashboard experience where it's scalable, and also I can move around and we can really add a lot of detail to it. I haven't really seen that anywhere in some of the new transaction software services. Is there any kind of good transaction? Like I've got 6 new listings coming up and I have 4 buyers in escrow right now and 2 sellers in escrow. And I just want to see the dashboard of where we're at with all these, all these tasks.
I think that depends on the summary versus the individual.
Yeah. Like to me, and let me know if I'm incorrect on this, but like a one-time task list that's going down per doesn't seem to make sense to me. Cause I'm like, why wouldn't I have client and task list going across, and I can scale down my clients? You know what I mean? Now, Tim was very good with spreadsheets. So he built something brilliant. We lost him. And then the next person we hired, she lost it and recreated it, made it really horrible. And I've never recovered it since.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's been depressing to think like, wow, where is that dashboard? Right.
Right. Spreadsheets are one where it can be in Google Sheets or it can be in Excel. I have clients that like Sisu. SISU, because it has dashboard kinds of capabilities. I'm not as familiar with the kind of software that transaction coordinators use, so I'm not the best person to answer from their perspective. But we know that we have plenty of clients that create templates in Trello and Asana. But sometimes that's one of their complaints about Asana is that it's individual transactions and not cumulative. But in Trello, it can be cumulative. But this is where I think too, Patrick, it's where operations playbook meets checklist. Because what level of detail do you need in the checklist versus in the operations playbook for someone to follow? Because very often on the checklist are things that are not explained or written, which have to be memorized or understood by verbal passage of a story about when something is supposed to be done, but that's not written down anywhere.
No. Yeah. That's why it was interesting. As Tim and I worked together, we evolved it. And, one column could be, inspection. And then, he would have the color coordinator but there's 3 columns underneath that. We booked it, the date, and report received, so, it was, we could really expand the level of detail, but still it was scalable and anyone can access it and see it. And I've had a conversation with the guy from RealVolve. I've had a conversation with the guys at Sisu. I've kind of been saying like, guy, where is our dashboard? This just doesn't even make sense to me that you guys are all, it's kind of like these one-off things of it. And I got to like go, or you give me, here's my task bucket of 40,000 tasks that have accumulated with no context for the tasks.
Yes.
Right. So, tasks without context is stressful.
Well, this is making me want to introduce you to David Breckheimer, cultivatewins.com. So David is incredible. He has been a mortgage broker. He's been an agent. He's been a transaction coordinator. Now he's a coach and he teaches about how to set up a lot of these systems. And he will tell you what you need is a workflow process, which is then applied to a tool, but you do not base your system on your tool.
Great.
Because the tools are always different and changing and bright and shining, and they're at the back of a conference room and, then everybody wants the new thing. Yeah. Your system should still be developed. And he uses a spreadsheet and an online calendar.
Yeah.
He could handle 75 files at a time.
Yeah. See, that just makes sense to me.
So David Breckheimer, cultivatewins.com.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I have taken up a lot of your time. Really appreciate it. And, I think everybody now knows where to follow you guys. I've looked at a couple of the videos on Vanessa's YouTube channel.
And she has a podcast, Offer Accepted.
Yep. And Kathleen needs to get her YouTube channel going. Everybody, correct?
Yes, it's on the list for next year.
Let's go. Come on.
KathleenMetcalf.com.
Yes, Kathleen. Let's get okay. Go check out HireLab.com. And let's, for all my friends out there, go book an appointment with those guys and let's get this process started. Kathleen, you're the best. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.